Get off my lawn. Don't turn around in my driveway. And don't drive slow if you're in the left lane. Scooby-Doo-Bop-Bop-a-Deep-a-Doo-Bop-Bop. Surrounded by brilliance. Welcome back to another episode of the Surrounded by Brilliance podcast. This episode is what I'm going to call the special edition Hawaii. I'm your host, founder, creator, all things awesome, Josh Will, and I'm going to fill you in on what this podcast is about. Surrounded by Brilliance podcast was created to bring together like-minded people who don't get offended by much and who are annoyed by most things. It's a podcast where humor, levity, and some serious discussion will give you a glimpse into the inner working of my brain, a self-proclaimed get-off-my-lawn guy. You'll hear funny stories, interesting opinions, a bit of grumpiness, and a whole lot more from some really interesting people and some not so interesting people. My guest today falls into the category of interesting people, none other than Toni Will, my wife. How are you?
I'm good. I was hoping I'd fall into that category of interesting.
You do, and I'm gonna give you an intro here. This is normally where I intro my guests, but this is your fourth appearance on the Surrounded by Brilliance podcast. The most to date, I believe, maybe, possibly. I have to check that, but I'm going to summarize. My wife is so she's got 25 years of work experience in leadership. She started in banking. She now serves as the general manager and Gavinette of the Kalamazoo Wings, which is a AA professional hockey team here in Kalamazoo, going on 11 years. She's the first female GM for the Kalamazoo Wings and also the first female on the board of governors in the ECHL, which is the league in which the Kalamazoo Wings are in. Her team has won several awards over the past decade for sales and revenue growth and diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. So, on top of that, she's done a lot of really great things. She started a lifestyle coaching business in 2021. She helps others find freedom from substances and reach fitness and nutrition goals, as well as expanded her business to professional development coaching. She is she's a keynote speaker. She did a TEDx in 2024, and it was awesome. Go check it out. TEDx speaker. She also launched Women In, which is Women In ... which is a podcast that celebrates women in all walks of life. She is actually going to be releasing her first book this August, and she'll be a keynote speaker. Again, she's doing several keynote speaking, but she's also, I'm stuttering through all this stuff because there's just so much stuff to talk about. I can't summarize it, so I'm just stuttering. But this will be the second year of a conference that she hosts called Empower Her. So also she's a wonderful wife, mother, daughter, all things awesome. That is my wife, our guest, Toni Will. We now have 5 minutes left of the podcast.
Yeah, you could have just summarized it and just said Google her.
Google her. So, well, look, this is special edition Surrounded by Brilliance Hawaii. And that is because you and I, who, I'm going to preface all this. Look, we just got back from Maui on Saturday. We were there for 6 days, 5.5 days, whatever it ended up being. But we are going to complain a little bit about that trip or things that occurred on that trip. But before we do that, and Toni, I know will agree with me on this. We were very fortunate to be able to go to Hawaii. We understand that. And so we're going to we're going to enhance some of the things that we saw because this podcast is talking about things that annoy us. But it was an interesting trip, and you'll hear that from us. But again, we were very fortunate to be able to go there, and we don't want it to seem as though we're ungrateful. But we are going to talk about some fun things, aren't we, my lady?
We are. It was quite the adventure.
Yeah, it was. So, I mean, just to give you, the listeners, an idea, for the sake of time, from the time we left our house last Sunday to the time we walked in the door of our condo, it was 38 hours. If you're doing the math at home or you've ever been to Hawaii, depending on what part of the country you're in, it can be anywhere from 14 to 10 to, to 7 out, whatever it is, right? Well, where we're at here in Michigan, it's approximately 10 hours, So yeah, 10-hour flight or 10-hour trip is what it's supposed to be in the air. Obviously, you have to throw in you're driving to the airport, layovers, and things of that nature. Um, so yeah,
We didn't, just to be clear, we didn't swim there or boat there. We flew there
we
in the 30
did.
hours. So what happens is, I'm going to jump in real quick.
Jump in, honey.
As this was unfolding, I'd look at Josh and say, write this down. This needs to be in a podcast. Write this down. It needs to be in the podcast. Write this. I mean, and then it just continued throughout the week. And then on the way home, which we made it home a lot faster, we'd look at each other and say, oh, yeah, this needs to be on there. And then when we were walking out of the airport, I said, read me the list back because we'd been compiling throughout our little adventure together. So a lot of things made the list. So how do we want to, where do we start?
Well, I'm gonna summarize the trip first. So we leave our house last Sunday. We drive to Detroit, and Tony is a huge proponent of you know how at the airport they give you these demands and they say be at the airport at least 2 hours before your flight, and they say it in a way that almost makes you feel like if you don't do it, you're breaking a rule or a law, which is not a rule and it's not a law, and they will not punish you. At the end of the day, you just need to be there when your flight is boarding. Those are the rules. But Tony is a big proponent of we got to be at the airport, boots on the ground in the airport with 2 hours before our flight leaves. So we left like 5 hours before our flight was
No,
supposed to leave.
4 hours.
We drove the 2 hours to the airport. We get there.
Well, we should
Our
note
first,
that I also have clear and TSA pre-check. So it's not, and we don't check bags because
yes,
I am anti-bag checking. It is something I am very passionate about. And so there's no reason logically for me to be there 2 hours early, but I am serious. And Josh knows, don't mess with Tony getting to the airport. And if I had
yes,
my way, I'd get there 3 or 4 hours early.
she would. And we would have to drive there separately, which would not be efficient, but I'm not going to, I mean,
We
and yes, she's a
compromise.
big fan of the carry on, which I am too. So when she says that, it's we because you save so much time if you don't have to check a bag. I mean, we went to Europe for 2 weeks and we took a carry on and a personal item. We made
Now,
it happen.
the trouble with this, and I'm running into it with this next trip, is we had the ability to do laundry in Europe, in Maui, but on this trip I'm going on, I don't. So I am doing, we'll have to do a follow-up on the dreaded bag check because I'm doing it tomorrow and I'm terrified. I'm gonna leave 4 hours early.
It's gonna be fine. Like you literally the only difference will be you might have to wait in line for a minute when you're checking your bag, and then you're gonna have to wait at the carousel to pick up your bag.
It's just
And if you're listening at home, right? Well, if you're either listening or watching, probably about an hour ago, when I went out to the barn and got a larger than carry on, a checked bag size bag for Tony, and she looked at me and she goes, "Well, what if I forget that I checked my bag?" I'm like, "You're not gonna just forget you checked a bag."
I know.
So
I didn't know what to do. I was really perplexed. I have gone back and forth on this all day, and I'm a very decisive person. Josh is like, maybe you're overthinking this. Maybe I am. But this was not, this is the trip coming up. Maui, we just had our bags. Okay. So
yeah, so drove to Detroit, took our flight from Detroit to Salt Lake City. Um, and by the way, we got to experience the Delta Sky Club at a multitude. Well,
three,
three different
three,
airports.
four, three
Three.
or four.
No, we went to Detroit when we got to
Detroit,
Detroit because we were there so early. We had time to go to Detroit. Hung out there. Flew
Salt
to
Lake.
Salt Lake City. hung out there in the Sky Club. And again, it was a lovers trip. And of course, we're just hanging out there, and someone happens to be in the Delta Sky Club. And he comes over. You work with him. He works for another organization, and he hung out with us. Great guy. And then he left, and as soon as he left to go catch his flight, we started getting these text messages: flight delayed. All right, flight delayed. Eventually, we go to the gate. Flight. It's one of those things where they keep delaying the flight an hour, and then they delay it a half hour. And so anyways, and it's from Salt Lake City to Maui, it's a
About
6.5 hour flight. So, it's starting to get into the evening, and you're like, okay, this is a long flight. And Maui Hawaii's 5 hours behind Eastern Standard Time. So, and you're just like, okay, now we're going to get there at 11:30 local time. Oh, now we're going to get there at 12:30 local time. Well, eventually they cancel the flight. So we're trying to figure out what to do. They paid for us to stay in a hotel. And we were fortunate enough because of Toni travels so much for work. I don't. I work right here in my office in the basement. And we got to fly. Anyways, we got our flight there. The next morning, we flew to Honolulu, hung out in Honolulu's airport for a couple hours, and then
And the Sky Lounge.
Honolulu didn't have they did have a Sky Lounge. Yeah, it reminded me of like an old room where old, decrepit men would go and smoke cigars back in the 60s.
It was definitely a different vibe than Salt Lake and Detroit. But we hung out at that Sky Club too.
Yeah, again, I don't know. I don't even know that I would call it a Sky Club because you're like right on top of the people. It's basically like a plane. You're sitting like right on top of the people next to you, trying to like eat finger foods and have conversations.
This is where Josh started to crack, was in Honolulu at the end.
No, it's because it's because the way they do their boarding, and I mean, they didn't have a panel up there to show you like what they're boarding, and they weren't saying it over the loudspeaker. It was
Hawaiian Air.
It was a Hawaiian Air, and this lady just starts yelling them out loud. Zone 1! If you're not zone 1, don't get in line.
There was a lot happening. And you would ask me questions. I'm like, I've never flown Hawaiian. I don't know. I only know Delta.
So we fly from Honolulu to Maui, and we get our rental car. And it's 50 minutes from the airport to where we were staying up on the Lahaina area, or Kanapale. See how I said that? Kanapale.
Wow.
So anyways, we had a wonderful time. We were there a day later than we were supposed to, or a day late.
A full day
but late. We had a great time. We got to power down, relax. We did some snorkeling. We went to a luau. We spent a lot of time by the pool.
We worked out together.
We worked out every morning.
Mm-hmm.
So walked on the beach and held hands as lovers do.
I wanted to renew our vows, and I turned to Josh and I said, "I, Toni Will." And then he's like, "Shut up." I'm like, "Josh." I was messing with him, but he knew.
So Maui was a wonderful time. We've been there one other time together. We believe we're pretty certain we'll go back, but we'll stay longer, and we'll just be ready for flight delays and stuff, because it's just part of traveling. So we're very, it was awesome to go there. But now we're going to talk about some of the Surrounded by Brilliance, get off my lawn moments.
The list.
Yeah, we're going to do a little differently. Normally the guest gives theirs and then I give mine, and we talk about how we make it positive, but we're going to do these together. So the first one I had on the list, and if you're listening for the first time, this is the Surrounded by Brilliance, Get Off My Lawn segment, where we talk about these things. And I've been compiling this list for years of things that just kind of annoy me or frustrate me. It makes me turn my head and kind of be like, what are we doing? Right. So that's where we talk about these things. The first one, honey, was people who constantly get up on the plane. And I'm going to read it verbatim because this is how it came out of my mouth when I said it to you. People who constantly get up on the plane and fuck around with their bag in the overhead compartment. So, you're at 30,000 feet. You can get out of your seat. You got the guy or that gal who gets up, they open up the overhead compartment, and they're like getting stuff in and out of their bags, sitting down. Oh, 10 minutes later, getting back up, putting something away, doing this. And they're just fiddle fucking around with everything.
They're slamming
It's
the
just,
back down.
yeah, it's just annoying. And they're also getting in the way of people that are trying to maybe go to the bathroom or whatnot. And to coincide with that, those same people, this is kind of connective, so I'm going to add it. The people who put everything in the overhead bag compartment, like they put their carry-on, they put their personal item, they put the coat they were wearing, they put the pillow they brought on, the other random bag. So they fill up all of this with just all this shit. And now whoever comes in who's beside them or behind them has to go back because it starts this domino effect of, oh, well, this person filled this up. Now I got to go here, here, here. So.
Yeah, you were very irritated by that because we put our bag over where we sit and then our other bag we put under the seat, um, as one should.
As you should.
As one should. We are travelers who respect those around us. Um, I don't get as annoyed as you do in in those situations. I get annoyed with some of the other things on the list, but I can understand that. There was one guy that was up and down a lot.
Well, yeah. And then at one point, he's just standing there. Like, he's like standing there looking down at the screen in front of him, watching it. He's just standing up, right? And this wasn't even the flight to Maui. This was the flight to Salt Lake City. He's just standing
4
there.
hours. Yeah, that flight was 4 hours.
Yeah. So, but yeah, though, like, it's just there's plain etiquette, and people don't have it. It's just frustrating. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that.
Oh, I'm sure.
We're not going to make these. We're not going to also the reason this is a special edition is because we're not going to try and make these a positive, or what can we take from these that's positive, because the positive is this.
We went to Hawaii.
We went to Hawaii. We had a great time. We understand that not everyone gets to do that.
Yeah.
And we don't, so we're trying not to come off as ungrateful pricks.
But listen, we paid for the trip. We're allowed to complain if we fucking want to.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
wasn't a
absolutely.
gift. We paid for it. So we can complain.
Oh, absolutely. So this next one is more specific from me. Toni didn't come up with this one. She is a part of this one. People who constantly get up out of their seat to go to the bathroom, like constantly. Like you have the same frequent flyers, pun intended. People who were just like, yeah, that's second, third, fourth. Oh, that's the fifth time she's went to the bathroom.
She
or he, but just like, okay, bladder control maybe. Why do you have to go to the bathroom that much? So did you have anything to say about how you have to go to the bathroom so much on a plane?
Oh, now you're going to let the cat out of the bag that it was me?
You weren't the only one, but you do go to the bathroom a lot. And you insisted on sitting on the window seat on this particular flight, on the one flight.
I do. Well, there was 2 flights, but
So I had to get up every time you had to go to the bathroom.
Well, 3 flights I ended up sitting by the window instead of the aisle. I do prefer the aisle, but if I'm flying with you, which is rare because I usually travel solo, I'm like, oh, Josh is here. He won't mind getting up for me. Now, if I'm flying with next to people I don't know, which is 99% of the time, I would sit in the aisle, and that's the seat I book. But here's the thing. I hydrate. I drink a big cup of water before I drink coffee in the morning, and then I drink coffee, and then I drink more water, and I just have to pee a lot. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
You were annoyed. You were irrationally annoyed about it.
Yeah, it's fair.
That's fair. Okay, Lisa.
Well, so we're going to move on to the next one. So, and this has happened on a plane. So people who don't blow their nose when they could easily blow it, and they literally sniffle like 1,000 times. It's like this.
It was 8.
That was one. That one. So fast forward on the flight from Maui to Atlanta home. Guy sitting directly across from me.
The aisle.
Directly across. I could reach my arm out and touch him. He did that the entire 8-hour flight. He
Eight and
did
a half
this.
hours.
8.5. He did this. That's once. 20 seconds later.
Yeah. We get it, Josh. We get it.
Anyway, you're sleeping though, or you couldn't hear it. And
Sleep.
then
I was
but
watching
then
true crime.
but I pointed it out to you like with
Yeah.
an hour left in the
You were
flight, and
grumpy.
you thought I was overreacting,
I did.
and then you kept hearing it, and you're like,
It was loud. I was like, oh my God. I go, why don't you wear your sound canceling headphones?
I had them on, and I could still hear him. That's the point.
It was pretty.
I Yeah. So like I was this close to like at like pressing the button and having her come over and be like, yeah, could you give this guy a Kleenex? Because he literally has been sniffling for 8 hours, and it's not like, oh, I have a cold. It's like, oh, you know, I'm in my late or in my 60s or however old he was, and I got nasal issues.
Yeah, I don't think age has to do with it. I don't know, but I don't think anyone's been told him like that's annoying. He doesn't have someone in his life like me or you. If you were doing that, I'd be like, Josh, that's really annoying.
I saw his wife or whoever it was, the female that was traveling with him, and I saw several times where she got annoyed with him about stuff.
I
And
think
I
it's
don't know if it was
water.
the sniffles, but I could see that she like I heard her say something to him, and it was in a way of like I'm pretty certain she could kick his ass too. So, all right, moving on to the next one. So, people at the airport who walk extremely slow. We've talked about this before, but this is a different derivation. People who walk at the airport who walk slow in a group
Ugh.
and they spread out horizontally.
Yes,
So
that
they're like, you know what? We're not just gonna stick to ourselves. We're gonna walk slow. We're gonna talk. We're gonna spread out horizontally so that people behind us cannot get around.
Josh and I are fast walkers. We even if we have a lot of time to dick around in the airport, we still like to walk with purpose. These
Yes.
people fan, and this wasn't just once, this was several times. So they just fan out. And then so he and I are trying to navigate around, and I'd look at him and he'd look at me, and we are just getting ticked. And we're like, get out of our way. Get out of our way. And then you're trying to
Yeah.
before the walking, what do you call it? People mover, and they're in your way. So then you're stuck behind them on that thing. So then we try and not go on the people mover, and it was very frustrating.
Well, I love that you call it the people mover. I think it's kind of like a moving
Sidewalk,
escalator.
moving
So,
sidewalk. Yeah.
but the irony is when you talk about how we walk so fast that we would walk with our normal pace. Those people would get on the thing and they would walk, and so they have the extra. It's moving them forward, and they're walking. We would get to the end at the same time as them.
Yeah.
So
And I'm not even that fast of a walker because Josh is like, walk faster.
no, you're not. You are not. You are a slow walker. You
But
have
I'm
short
faster.
legs.
I
You have short gait.
I'm 5'2". What do you want me to do? But I'm faster than those people.
Yeah, you are. You are. All right. Last but certainly not least, dudes at the gym who have their AirPods in and then they take a call and literally talk on the call the entire workout while they're in the hotel gym or resort gym working out amongst other people.
Ugh.
Happened.
I couldn't believe it. I look over and I'm like, he is not. He's doing this. He's got his hood up and he's getting swole and I'm like, no. And I'm thinking, okay, this is gonna be a short call. No. This gym guy, he talked the whole time we were there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was just the lack of courtesy. It's one thing to take a quick call, but you can't just assume that everyone has AirPods in or they can't hear me. One, everyone there did have some form of AirPod or headphones on, but you are in this. I mean, it's not like it's huge gym. People can hear you, and you're not. The call he was taking, he didn't have urgency with it. He was just like talking to another bro. He's like, yeah, I know. I thought that's what we were doing too, and and then he said this, and the guy said that. I was like, dude, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Like, what are you doing?
Because thank God I just put my noise canceling in and I'm like, I'm so judging you right now. I'm so judging you. And I didn't want to make eye contact with Josh because then we would have a whole conversation with our eyes. And
She
then,
didn't. You didn't have to. I knew it. I was in the other room where the Pelotons were, and I could still hear him with my. So, but yeah. So those are some of the get off my lawn moments from our Hawaii trip. Like we said, we had some very enjoyable times, some really nice dinners, some nice peaceful walks, working out, some the snorkeling was great. I didn't initially want to do that, but Toni convinced me to do it, and I'm glad I did. The luau was cool.
Josh is
Um,
doing a loincloth and a fire.
so it was look, oh, it was a great trip. I mean, these are just little things that obviously we're having fun with because this is what we do. We talk about things that annoy us on this podcast,
Well,
and
I want to bring something else up.
oh, go for it.
Well, I think people can relate to this. And this is listen, Hawaii's not cheap, but there's a cheap way to go, a cheap-ish way to go. And
Oh,
you know
okay, I know where you're going.
where I'm going with this. So this is like a travel tip if you want to go. So I'm a Marriott Bonvoy member for hotels. I don't get a ton.
As am I.
Yeah,
As am I.
we are, but I get these offers, and I got an offer 6 years ago, and I'm like, hey Josh, if we go listen to this timeshare pitch, we can go for really affordable. So this is how we went the first time. And so, and I knew because Josh and I have known each other a long time. I'm like, if you put the two of us in a room together with salespeople, like it's going to be entertaining because Josh and I have both been in sales throughout our career. And so we know, we think we know a lot. I don't know if we do or don't, but we knew we could say no. So we went the first time and that was 6 years ago. And we had a great experience and the timeshare selling was pretty entertaining. And we said no, of course. So then I get the offer again all these years later. And I came to him in August. I'm like, hey, you want to do it again? And he's like, why not? So it's been 6 years. Let's do it. So this is how we booked this trip. And then 5 months later we go. So we go to the pitch and they didn't have us in the time right, whatever. But Josh is like, we've built our whole day around this. So, okay.
So they took us in. Yeah, they weren't going to, but I was like, we planned our day around this. This is what you literally confirmed yesterday at your front desk. You need to take us today or we're not doing it.
Yeah,
And they took us.
they did. And they have this, we knew what to expect because we literally did the exact same presentation 6 years ago, pre-COVID. So they have this giant like waiting room. It's ridiculously large. And we were making fun of that. Like, why do you need all this? Anyways,
It's like the size of a Delta Sky Lounge. It was like
seriously.
how big it is.
Yeah. So we sit there and then the sales guy comes out and we do he tried this sales tactic of, I really value your time and we're going to be out of here sooner than the 90-minute commitment. And okay, like, I'm like, all right, Mark. And he won't listen to this. So
I knew he was a liar. I knew he was a liar. He had Toni though.
I was like, okay, I can like I was gonna give him a chance. But Josh and I, we always go into these with a game plan. We do. And we won't give you all our tips and tricks, but tip number one, have a plan. So we knew what our objection was going to be. We knew how they were going to try and overcome the objection. We knew that there was going to be three different people that were going to try and close us because we've sat through this before. We knew. And I said, you do most of the talking, and then when you're tired, because you get drained, tap me in. And that's basically what happened.
So I'll take over for a minute
Yeah,
here
go
because I
ahead.
want to. Well, I'll take over because the part that I need to tell, you shouldn't be telling it, right? And I want to give it its due. So we go and we do the thing, and he tries to get to know us, and of course they take you to the nicest
Unit.
suite that they're trying to sell you, and it looks directly out on the Pacific Ocean. It's beautiful. It had ton of space, the nicest finishings, most up to date it could be. But fun fact, I'm pretty certain they had the heater on in it.
Josh was
And
sweating.
I was sweating because it was hot in there, and I just looked at him like, "Hey, so is it one of your sales tactics to try to sweat people out? Because man, dude, take a log off the fire in here. It is friggin' hot."
You didn't even know what you
And
meant.
he's like, "Oh, what?" I'm like, "Yeah, don't you want us to be comfortable?" I'm sweating in here, man.
He
Oh,
didn't
no.
understand what take a log off the fire meant.
Yeah, he didn't. You did. And we laughed and realized,
We
yeah,
were
this
always
guy.
laughing. We were like, we're so funny.
Yeah. So we leave, and now he takes us down into his office to get down to the nitty gritty. And
He gets the
he
white.
gets down, he gets a whiteboard out. He writes down numbers, but doesn't really explain what they are. He writes down a square. He does this stuff, but he's asking questions. His sales, it was terrible the way he was doing it. And then he starts asking affirming questions like, "Oh, do you see the value? Do you see?" And I was like, "Well, of course we see value in wanting to vacation like that. We absolutely do. Who wouldn't want to? But I don't know what value you're talking about because let's be honest, you haven't told us anything."
No
He's like,
numbers.
"What do you?" He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Just tell us the numbers. Tell us what it costs. Like we're here, but you're asking us these questions, but you haven't given us any information." So he knew I was going to be a hard one right away, and that was before even that. So, anyways, we do that. We go through the rigmarole. He talks numbers. He talks brass tacks. We then, for the second time, because early on I planted the seed of what our reason for not being able to do it was. We again, Toni apparently wants people to. She's like, we're not going to give you all the secrets. Reach out to us if you want to know what it is. We told them that we're in the process of buying another house, which we're not.
We're not.
But we told them that, right? We're in the process of buying another house. Financially, this doesn't make sense. Boom. You just stick to the story, okay?
That's it. I wanted to be more creative with our story, like a
Yeah,
tree fell
no,
on our
yeah. You
house,
want,
and or we were doing in vitro. I wanted to do
yeah,
that.
yeah. You just keep it simple, keep it realistic.
By the way,
Buying a second
everyone,
house, don't have the money to do this.
we're not doing in vitro.
No, 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 no. So I planted that seed early on because he used the word, yeah, I just want to be transparent. And then he said whatever he said. It was stupid. And I said, well, if we're being transparent, we want to let you know that we booked this in August. But since then, we've decided to buy another house, a second home. So I've planted this seed, right? I'm salesing the sales guy. I planted the seed, bring it back up when we're in his office. It's
Lying.
like, hey, we're I mean, yeah, I see it just doesn't make sense for us because we're having to put this money into the second home. Okay, so maybe this is aspirational, blah, 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 blah. So he goes through his sales pitch and he's like, okay, I'm going to bring in whoever, and she's the closer who they bring in because that part's annoying too. Just one person the whole time. That's all I need. If you probably get more people to buy. So they bring in the closer.
Now wait,
And
there's one more thing. Can I add this?
yeah, go
We
ahead.
decided in the story we crafted. My dad was our inspiration. My dad was our muse. Okay. And because my dad is buying a house right now. And so we thought my dad won't care if we use his home purchase like we're doing it. And so we were explaining this, just giving him a little information. Like my dad's in Florida, that's why we bought the second home. And he said, "Wait, what did he say? What did he say,
He
John?"
goes, oh, he's like, so the plans to like, eventually you guys get down there, you move your dad into assisted living, and that way you don't have to take care of him.
Uh,
No,
I
no,
was I'm like, no. I'm like, my dad's 83 years old and he plays softball around the country. I got very defensive.
my dad could beat your dad up. That's
I
what Toni said.
I did. I was like, no. But who says that? What salesperson says you're trying to put your
Yeah,
dad in a nursing home? No.
yeah.
Oh,
So they bring in the closer,
yeah.
and part of their shtick is the guy who is trying to sell us has to bring the closer up to speed in 10 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it is. It's not long. Remember, he's been asking us all these questions, going through all this stuff. We've made it pretty clear to him. I mean, without actually saying the words, we're not interested, we've said every other word. So as a sales guy, he's like, all right, they didn't say they weren't interested. Like, no, because we know your process. We can tell you we're not interested. We need to tell her we're not interested.
Right.
So we watch him explain to her, well, yeah, he does his thing.
It's
And
like we're
then
in the middle of a role play, by the way, because we're
yeah.
watching them and we're like, oh my God, it was
And
cringe.
then he leaves and she's like, so Mark talked to you about this or that or whatever. And she asks a couple questions and we then make it very clear. Yeah, we're in the process of buying this home. It just doesn't make sense for us. And we make it very clear, right? We're not interested. And she's like, so you don't see the value? And I was like, well, yeah, we see the value, but we just we can't financially. We're not going to do it. We just told you. She's like, you're in escrow then? I'm like, yeah, we're in escrow. And then she goes, she says, she pauses and she's like, so you don't want to see the? So she's like, so you don't want to see the prices? And Toni goes, not really. And I was like, I looked at her. I was like, had to not try not to laugh. I'm like, hmm. And this lady,
She didn't know what to do.
she was like, okay, I'll have markets checked out.
She was
She got up and she was so pissed. Like she was pissed.
she was
And it
offended.
was awesome though, because she's like, so you don't want to see the prices? And Tony's like, not really.
It
No.
was, I was just like, not really. And I wasn't planning, this is the thing. I wasn't planning on any of that. Josh just sat there when she asked the question and it kind of hung out there for a second, like in a word bubble. And then I'm like, I'm just going to be honest. Is that Jack?
Yeah, that's Jack.
I'm just going to be honest. Not really.
Yeah. And you were. And you were. So yeah, we tell her no. She goes and gets she goes and gets the sales guy. Sales guy comes back and acts surprised. He's like, oh, so she told me. I guess it's not going to work out, huh? And I want to be like,
Mark, come on.
yeah, Mark, it's not going to work out. For the last 90 minutes, we've been telling you it's not going to work out. Like, where are you at? What planet are you on? So he's like, all right, well, we'll get Susie in here and she's going to take a survey from you. Well, Susie comes and Tony are like, okay,
We know.
Susie's not coming to do a survey.
Hmm.
Susie's coming to try and sell us something.
Again.
Gain.
Number 3.
Susie comes in, grabs us, says, all right, well, let's get you surveyed. I'm going to take you, let's sit down in this room. I'm like, okay. We sit down in the room. She's like, she asks a couple questions. Or not questions. She just makes some statements about, you like what's going on so far? So
So
yeah, she asks us. She's like, "Well, you're as a last ditch effort. Would you like to come back and pay for this? And it's a discounted rate." And I'm like, no, no thanks, because it didn't make sense for us because it was like a studio for like 3 days or something, whatever.
yeah, like it took us 3 days.
So then it was over. So then she checked us out. By meaning checked us out, she walked us to the door, and that was it.
They did tell
So
us that they have 70 people come through every day. Remember when Mark
I don't
said that?
believe that.
I don't even.
I don't believe that. Well, I might believe it if it's like couples. Maybe you get like 35 people a
5.
day,
Yeah,
35 groups or
yeah. Maybe
sit
they
downs.
maybe they embellish like we embellished we were buying a house in Florida.
Maybe. Yeah, because I think we're losing all this good information,
It's
this good
not
material,
lost,
because it
honey.
still says, mine says trying to reconnect. Make sure you have a stable internet connection. This
I-
thing's getting off the fucking rails.
No.
So those are our get off my lawn moments.
You're just gonna bypass that one, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Clear eyes, cool heart, or what? Full heart, can't lose. Something like that. Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose. I think that's the phrase from Friday Night Lights.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about?
Well, so before we end the podcast, I wanted to ask you a couple questions. These are
Okay.
questions that I've asked other people on the podcast, and these questions have evolved over time. So I'm gonna ask you just a few. We're not gonna spend a lot of time, but question one: zombie apocalypse happens. How long do you think you personally survive?
I mean, I know how you're gonna answer this for me. You think I'm one of the first ones gone, but I'm pretty athletic and I lift a lot of weights. So I might be out of the game early, but not first. And you would protect me, so
So how long?
oh, like days?
I don't know. You tell me. I'm thinking more like hours for you. That's with me protecting you.
With me, I mean, give me at least 2 days.
Okay. 2 days. I don't know that I believe that. But if it is 2 days, it's obviously because I've protected you and
Well, here's
done
the
everything.
thing. You, I'm it for you. Like, you don't have another wife in you.
Well, honey, one, you're right. So even in a non-zombie apocalypse scenario, yeah, there's no remarrying if something happens to you. But second, in a zombie apocalypse scenario, I'm pretty certain finding another wife is not even anywhere on the list.
What if you become
Surviving is just on the list.
what if you become a zombie and she's a zombie and then there's chemistry?
Yeah, I don't think zombies work that way. But anyways, maybe again. Last question. Who would play you in a movie about your life?
Oh, I've told you this before off air in our regular life. Uh, Robin Wright Penn
Because she has short hair, right? Or has had short hair before.
has had short hair. She's awesome. House of Cards, hello. Forrest Gump, Jen
Yeah,
A.
I can hear you. Yeah. Well, so before we go, and I didn't tell you I was going to do this, I want to just take a moment and I want to speak about something. So this is what I was going to say, because I know it's stuff that you don't talk about publicly a lot, but um, as the role that you have in your everyday job as a governor and GM of the hockey team, there's obviously there are people who are passionate about their team and they have reasonable frustrations that they like to share on social media. Hey, the team's not playing good, or boy, it's this stinks, or that. Like, they're reasonable things that fans have a right to say, and they can. And we all read those things and we look at them and we're like, okay, yeah, that's reasonable. But I mean, you know, and most oftentimes than not, those things fall out of your purview anyways, because in your job description, you're in charge of basically everything except the on ice product. Like, you don't pick the players, you don't coach the players, you don't hire the coach, you don't do any of that. You're everything but that.
All business,
Anything on ice. What's that?
all business, all community. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't handle any of that stuff. That said, there's a select few of people who like to go on social media and speak to you as though you are in charge of all those things, because they just don't understand your what's your responsibilities are, and your responsibilities have been spelled out multiple times. I go on there and say it, but I wanted to just briefly give you a lot of credit, because there's a specific person who I'm not going to use their name, because they're just a coward, a piece of shit, who they've made it personal. They're essentially virtually stalking you to a point where they're going to your personal stuff and creating fake emails and telling you, oh, fuck Tony and this and that, and saying a lot more derogatory things than I'm sharing right now.
I'm a trash reader.
Yeah, they say they just say these things, and I wanted to just. And here's the thing: you don't talk about it hardly at all, but we deal with it a lot here at home,
We do.
because, and there's others that have pushed the limit, pushed the line, but this particular person is they're a coward. I highly doubt they listen to this podcast, but if they do, they know that I'm talking to them, because just a piece of grade A shit.
100%.
And you've done a great job of not. I mean, you called this person out. Well, not directly. You called out a post that this person did a couple of weeks ago, but this person just keeps doing stuff. And I wanted to, for a couple of reasons, I wanted to, one, just say, I'm very proud of you dealing with this, kind of in silence to a point, because you understand that you can't reason with unreasonable people, and that this person is just so miserable in their own life that they have nothing better to do than to be so derogatory and rude and threatening to you about things that you don't even have control of, or they make stuff up. So I wanted to, one, compliment you and bring to light these things that happen to you that the everyday person doesn't realize it. I mean, we all take criticism in our jobs, whether it be from other employees, our bosses, clients. Like, there's always some criticism receiving. Most of the time it's warranted, but it's it it's supposed to be helpful criticism, right? This is a situation where this person is just so rude and so uh,
Misogynistic.
misogynistic. They're just that. The reason I wanted to bring it up is to give you compliments and point that out and point those things out. But I also there's part of me that really hopes that somehow this person sees this podcast and they'll know that I'm talking about them because I keep going back to piece of shit loser because that's what they are. And I know you would never say that because you're professional and you maintain your professionalism in this. But I'll say it because when they make it personal, they're now making it about my wife. Because I'll be and you'll attest to this. People will, in the past, people have said things, and being a huge fan of sports, I'll be like, well, honey,
Yeah.
this person has a point. This person has a point. Like, because I understand. I mean, I've been a fan of sports for a long time. You're a fan of sports, but I am super ingrained into a lot of different sports. So I'll tell you, I'm like, well, they're not wrong here, or that's reasonable. That's just them being a fan. This person is completely like they've crossed the line. You can't even see the line.
No, I mean it's cyber stalking, and he's even taken it to the point where he's on creeping on your LinkedIn and several times. This is not healthy, and you and I have a lot of conversations about it because I am a very outspoken person, and I find, and well, number one, I appreciate your supportive words and the and behind the scenes that people don't see. But I struggle with being silent because I feel like it's being complicit. And I really want women to understand that they are not to be treated this way, and I shouldn't be treated this way. So it's been hard the last couple years, and you witness 99% of it, whether it's online or in person, because it happens both places. And it's we need to do better as human beings. I was talking, hopefully it picked it up, babe. I said something really cool.
You there?
Yes. Let's wrap it up, baby.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up.
Land the plane, lover.
So
I love you.
Well, look, as always, I love and appreciate you, and I appreciate you for having a willingness to come on this podcast and have fun this time and talk about our trip to Maui. And and then God knows if this may go as an unheard of podcast because it just constantly says trying to reconnect, and it is pissing me off because I've been having issues with Riverside. It's not our internet.
No, because I record my own podcast all the time and don't have these issues.
Yeah. So I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for coming on my podcast.
Love you too, honey.
And thanks everyone for listening.
Aloha. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Get off my lawn. Don't turn around in my driveway. And don't drive slow if you're in the left lane. Scooby-Doo-bop-bop-a-deep-a-doop-bop-bop. Surrounded by friends.